What exactly is this dispute happening in the US between Stephen Colbert and his network? It's sort of gaining lots of traction.
It is. So many eyes on this, and that's exactly what we're told the Trump administration did not want, because Stephen Colbert, the late night host on CBS, has come out and said he was not allowed to air an interview that he had done with a Democratic representative who was running for Senate. He said that the network, because of a rule that the regulatory body here in the US has brought in and changed slightly, he would have been required to show other candidates as well. But take a listen to what he had to say, aiming these words, remember, at his own network.
You know who is not one of my guests tonight? That's Texas State Representative James Talarico. He was supposed to be here, but we were told in no uncertain terms by our network's lawyers, who called us directly, that we could not have him on the broadcast. Then I was told in some uncertain terms that not only could I not have him on, I could not mention me not having him on. And because my network clearly doesn't want us to talk about this, let's talk about this.
So, Sarah, let's...
So he went on after that to say, Leigh-Ann, that this is about the equal access rule, right? So because you've got this Democrat running for Senate in November, the rules now, it didn't used to apply to late night talk shows, but now the head of that board, the FCC, is thinking about extending it to late night talk shows. And as a result, the network's lawyers felt that potentially he could be in breach of any future change to the regulations. That clip's about the politest bit we are able to air, but he goes on to speak in the way that only Stephen Colbert can. He's known for being very outspoken, challenging the Trump administration on many of its decisions around the media. I do just want to tell you, though, Leigh-Ann, the only Democrat on the 5-person board of the FCC came out and said that there were concerns, and she felt it was a troubling example of corporate capitulation. So some harsh words all round there for CBS, not least from its own host of Stephen Colbert's late night show.
But Sarah, it did manage to air on YouTube, didn't it? So if you do want to watch that interview, it is available, but it's just not available on the major network. And that's also another argument.
Yes, and Stephen Colbert says in the monologue that he gives explaining this, that he's going to be putting it up on YouTube. Now, importantly, those types of platforms, they don't fall under the FCC's regulatory reach, so it's able to be put up without following that equal access rule. Important to point out to viewers, though, as of right now, the FCC hasn't actually changed the rules around what can be aired on late-night talk shows, but just the suggestion that they might be changing the rules has prompted the network CBS to, with the lawyers, look at that, and Stephen Colbert telling the audience, apparently deciding it was not right to air that interview. Also, Stephen Colbert will be leaving the network in May later this year. So, it's an interesting time for him to be on air, facing these challenges and possible changes around what media can broadcast in the age of the Trump administration.
Yeah, and he's leaving it all on the table, isn't he, Sarah, before he leaves? And is this part of a wider pattern? And are tensions between broadcasters and their star presenters becoming more common under the Trump administration? Because we even see Hollywood stars really getting political these days.
Yes, and I mean, it's interesting that you had this interview with James Talarico, causing so much tension here, because, as I said, he was told, Stephen Colbert, he couldn't air this on his platform. It's now gone up on YouTube. And of course, as a result of the controversy around this, has got a huge amount of eyeballs on it. Now, Stephen Colbert is not the first time that he's come up against challenges from his network, from the Trump administration. We know the Trump administration has been urging that body, the FCC, to relook at rules around what media are allowed to broadcast, particularly when it comes to election time. The Trump administration, of course, has taken on many times what they call the mainstream media bias, fake news media. That's the allegation that is often levied at us journalists here in the United States. But the FCC, under the chair, Brendan Carr, has been seen as bending towards possibly following the Trump administration's advice on some of these stricter rulings. And that has come in for very sharp criticism, as I said, from even some of the Democrat members of the FCC board itself. So there is a huge amount of scrutiny around the possible changes to rules. But yeah, Leigh-Ann, Stephen Colbert coming out swinging, airing that, saying, you know, his network didn't want to air it. They didn't even want him to speak about it, but clearly he felt that rule could be ignored, and speak about it he did. And viewers who are interested, you couldn't see it on his late night show, but it did go up on his YouTube page afterwards.
Sara Firth, no fake news here. Thank you so much.